building roadmaps for my clients to follow so that they can overcome their health obstacles and make a difference for their families, their communities, and the world. I believe that it's never too late to start living a vibrant, connected, and fulfilling life, and that starts with better health. I have 3 boys. I am never bored. It is never quiet. It is never clean, my house, but we have a lot of fun. And I'm also someone who spent decades with chronic health issues. So I really understand what it's like to be on that side of things. I understand what it takes to get to the other side of things. And I really love to spread the message of hope that it is never too late. You're never too old to make huge improvements in your health. But I'm hopeful that most people won't wait around until they're 50 or 60 to do something about it.
So take us from the beginning. You mentioned that this is something that you want to do. You're helping women understand that although it's never too late, earlier is better. So what got you to start this journey in helping women?
I've had my own health journey. You know, a lot of us that are in this industry got interested in it at the beginning because we've had our own health issues. And for years and years and years, I just wasn't believed, helped, supported by traditional medicine. And there's a time and a place for traditional medicine. I've had my life saved by it, but I didn't get the help that I needed. And so I had to go down a different route. And I went into the functional health world and got the help I needed, fell in love with it, said, I figured out what I want to be when I grow up, and went into my own business to support women with their own health. And now I run a thriving practice. My brand is called Holistic Obsession, and it's really because I'm obsessed with finding the root causes to my clients' health issues. We don't band-aid symptoms. We don't just manage their chronic, major symptoms they're dealing with on a regular basis. There's always a root cause behind those symptoms. Symptoms are just information, so we have to backtrack. We have to go deeper. And so, you can find me at holisticobsession.com. That's my website, and learn more about me. But it is my mission to change the world, and that starts with women's health. I believe that women have the capacity to be change makers on so many levels, but we spend decades and decades and decades taking care of everyone around us. And that can leave us utterly depleted, where we're not functioning. Maybe you feel like you're just doing a terrible job at everything. Like, I'm a terrible mom, I'm a terrible spouse, I'm a terrible employee, I'm a terrible business owner, whatever that is. Because if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't give yourself what you need on a daily basis to operate at your highest level, well, you're not going to serve the people you love the way you want to.
Sometimes women may feel that it's a bit selfish if I take care of me instead of my children. It's a bit selfish if I take care of me versus my husband. What are some of the reasons that you think women take care of others? And if those are some of the reasons that I mentioned, why do you think that is, Becca?
So there's some things that I call the myths of self-care. And you hit one of them on the head, is that I think our society has taught us, and in order to be a good mom, you have to put yourself last. In order to be a good spouse, you have to put yourself last. But I think that's total BS. In order to serve the people you love, you have to take care of yourself. There's that whole idea of you have to pour out of yourself to serve others. You're not a cup. You're not a pitcher. We don't pour out of ourselves, because all that does is deplete us. I want women to start thinking of themselves as a serving bowl. You are a bowl. And self-care is just the little things you do every day. Rest, play, diet, sunlight, getting out in nature, whatever it looks like for you, that fill up your bowl. Fill up your bowl with self-care activities, with prioritizing rest and play for yourself. And then you can serve those you love from the overflow, versus pouring, that whole concept of pouring out. And I feel like in our society has taught us as women that if we are to prioritize ourselves, that it's selfish, but it's the opposite. It is selfless. Because if you imagine the burnt out, strung out, overwhelmed, exhausted, depleted version of yourself versus the peaceful, energetic, delighted, stable, fun-loving version of yourself, who's going to do a better job of taking care of the people that you love? I think we all know what the answer to that one is, though.
I agree, because you need to be healthy enough to take care of others. If you're sick, if you're on your medical bed, if you're on your deathbed, God forbid, then you are not of service to anyone. And although I may use the cup analogy, I use it in the way that you use it, meaning that you have to be pouring from the overflow.
Yep.
Right? Like if you're
Yes.
depleted yourself and you have nothing to give, where are you pulling from? Do you help women identify boundaries in regards to that aspect specifically?
Oh, 100%. So many of us are people pleasers, where we say yes to all the things. And we are constantly trying to solve everyone's problem. We're taking over someone's consequences, saying it's easier if I just do this myself. Or feeling like we even have to earn self-care. We have to earn time for rest and play. It is your right as a human being. Rest and play, they are not luxuries. They are necessities for life. Because if you think about it, if you are in stress mode, you are like a racehorse with those blinders on. You're tunnel vision, right? And you're just stressed and overwhelmed and stressed and overwhelmed. And typically the first things to go when you're stressed and overwhelmed are rest and play. I don't have time to rest. I don't have time to play. I don't have time for self-care because I'm stressed and overwhelmed and I got problems to solve, right? But if you do the things that you used to do, that you stop doing because you're stressed and overwhelmed, those are the very things that get you out of stress mode. If you're like in that tunnel vision where you are not looking right or left, there are very often very simple solutions to your problems, but it's in your peripheral vision. And if you are in stress mode, you're not going to see those often simple solutions. And so self-care is literally just rest and play, whether that's a 10-minute nap, whether it's a walk, whether it's a bath, whether it's going to your favorite store and just tootling around. It doesn't have to be a day at the spa, which most people, I think these days are like, self-care, it's expensive and it takes a whole day. No, it doesn't. It can be 10 minutes here and there throughout your day. And it usually actually works better if you have small chunks of time throughout your day to just reset your nervous system, get out of stress mode into relaxation, right? And so many women feel like they have to deserve self-care, earn it. You don't. Our care tasks, they're going to be there. They're not meant to drain down to zero before you get rest and play, right? We should schedule in self-care activities amidst all of our care tasks. It's not meant to be finish your to-do list and only then may you get self-care. That's not how this works, or it's not how it should work anyway, my opinion.
I know many women who the spa, that is their definition of self-care. And one of the things I love, there's this one of my friends, she says, I'm going to take a self-care day. I'm going to go see Rodrigo. Who's Rodrigo? Rodrigo is the masseuse at the spa that she goes to. So when you mentioned that it's an expensive habit, I could imagine, because when you look at the services provided to men in comparison to women, the price range is so vast, right? Like women will get, they'll get the facial, they get the pedicure, the manicure, they get the massage, all these things, and it can run you up $100, couple hundred, maybe even $1,000.
Oh yeah.
And if that is your definition of self-care, how many women can truly afford that, right?
No. And maybe like a once a year, you go do something like that, or twice a year, great. But that's not going to keep your nervous system out of stress mode. That's going to be fun and great, but it's the little things you do for yourself every day. It's making sure you're getting restorative sleep. It's eating nourishing food. It's getting sunlight. It's making sure that you do things, even if it's 10 minutes, something that delights you, that brings you joy every single day. Because we all have, I love bucket analogies. we all have a stress bucket. And when that gets full, we lose our buffer. We lose the capacity to handle what life throws at us. So then any little thing, because life will happen, that is a guarantee, life will happen, right? And it's going to start throwing things at you. If you have no buffer built in, if your stress bucket is already full, then that's going to cause that stress bucket to overflow. And then all of a sudden you're yelling at the kids and you're irritable, and you're miserable, you're not functioning, or you just want to hide in your bedroom and not talk to anybody, right? But if you can empty out that stress, then when life throws something at you, you're going to be able to better handle that. You're not going to already be at capacity when that thing happens. And I bet anybody listening to this can name like 3 or 4 things that is triggering a stress response. So that could be a job or a relationship, the state of the world, COVID, whatever it is, just being over scheduled even can be a huge stressor. I know it can be one of mine. And so the other side of that though is our body responds to internal stressors just as much, if not more. Internal stressors could be blood sugar dysregulation, infections in your gut, leaky gut, hormone imbalance, adrenal issues, toxic burden, so heavy metals or mold toxicity, just different things. And so there's kind of 2 trains of thought as far as when I'm working with clients. We work on those external stressors. So anything mental, emotional, trauma, grief, anything like that, as well as those internal stressors. And if you kind of attack your stress bucket from both variables there, making sure you're balancing your blood sugar, making an anti-inflammatory diet, making sure you're drinking water. We're like plants that talk. We need water, we need sunlight, we need nutrients, right? Just think of yourself as this beautiful houseplant. You have to nourish yourself. And so it's not always simple, it's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. Pick one thing to change. One, get really good at it. Then pick another thing to change, get really good at that, and so on and so forth. Get 1% better every day, and before you know it, you have made massive changes. Just like that whole I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time. Well, how do you make time? Have better boundaries, right? If you're constantly solving everyone else's problems for them, you're not going to have time for yourself. So pick one person that you're constantly jumping in their backyard to solve their problems for, or pick one, environment, like, okay, work problems or home problems. Just again, pick one thing and start making those shifts. Just create that list, pick one thing off your list a week to work on.
For those who are following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, please subscribe and follow along for more wonderful interviews like the one we have with Becca right now. She's going to share some incredible